I have a huge soft spot for the Western genre, whether it's a film, TV show, or even in video games. So when I see cowboys, six-shooters, and horses, I'm instantly interested in what it has to offer. Evil West caught my eye as it looked like a combination of a third-person action game and a third-person shooter. The supernatural and sci-fi elements gave it a Dark Watch vibe just from the appearance. In short, it honestly looked like a throwback title, something we would commonly see on the PS2 or PS3. I have played the first few hours, and so far I really like what this one has to offer. It is definitely a bit rough in spots, but still very fun. Evil West is an action game, and you'll be spending most of your time in combat arenas battling all manner of supernatural monsters. There's a nice mix of fodder-like enemies and heavies. The melee combat is very easy to get into. You have a variety of different moves, from your basic hits to performing jump punches, uppercuts for juggling, and even being able to hit enemies into stuff. Being able to pop enemies up and punch them into some deadly objects never gets old, as the environments have spikes and TNT to slam them into. After the first two levels, you are given the Zapper. Outside of your useful evasive role, this is one of the best means for defense. With the Zapper, you can perform a block that will stun an enemy and allow you to perform a few follow-up hits. The Zapper has two other functions, like being able to rush you forward to close the distance with an enemy, or finding some breathing room, along with pulling an enemy in for some easy hits. The melee mixed with the Zapper is really fun to use. On top of this, you also have your guns. You can quickly fire off your six-shooter, and it's always fun to uppercut an enemy and then juggle them with it. A rifle is great for ranged or flying foes, or hitting those weak spots among others. So far, all of these mix well to allow for some enjoyable combat. Your main goal is to build up your energy to unleash deadlier attacks, and this is done through attacking enemies. Power-ups are rewarded from takedowns and killing foes, so the action is all about pushing the player back into the combat, rather than running away to heal. The sound and impact to your actions is satisfying enough. Some of the takedowns are good, while others need a bit more weight and creativity behind them. Story-wise, you are working for an organization that takes on supernatural entities. I did like how you are dropped right into a mission and you get to the action quickly. The narrative can also feel like a mess at times and could have benefited from some more refinement and focus, but it's always entertaining. Cutscenes start and end each mission, and they look pretty good too. There's even some humor, either intentional or unintentional, from the B-movie charm that it has.
In this too? Take it off.
Mr. Rentier, on a first date? What do you take me for?
You're right. Maybe a little lighting to say.
My wife could blow this defensive position over with a wet fart. He also wanted me to make sure you're not blowing all our money on Mexican Monty. But that's another conversation. Yes, quite. Well, as I say, keep up the good work. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Evil West honestly feels like a breath of fresh air in its straightforward and at times derivative approach. The levels so far are fairly linear, with some hidden collectibles and goal defined. Levels are set up with a series of arenas that you fight through. Maybe you fight a boss and then it's on to the next cutscene and level. It's simple and I like it. There are upgrades to earn either through leveling or finding gold, and you have some choice in what you choose first. This feels like an older title, and I found that to be a positive. It's nice to be playing something that is not a loot-based RPG, live service game, or an open world one. And while I like many of those games in those genres, Evil West is trying to carve out something good and niche that many of us miss. So far I like it, but I need to bring up some flaws that I have experienced. I am playing the PS5 version in co-op, and I have seen many visual glitches with my other player popping around the screen. This does add a roughness to the experience, but I mostly don't mind these types of things, and thankfully we haven't had any drops or crashes. One thing that I think is odd is that the second player does not earn story progression. This aspect of co-op seems dated and should have been thought out better. The experience system system seems tacked on as well. So you usually level at some point in a level and gain experience from kills. Especially since you cannot earn experience from replaying levels, it feels like I am earning more skill points at set points in levels. So if that is the case, I think we should just earn a skill point at the end of each level, instead of this experience system that feels more slapped on to be more in line with modern titles. And lastly, I take issue with most action games that have a camera that hugs the player's back. You see this in the Avengers and the recent God of War games. You lack proper situational awareness and can often get hit by something off screen. Now, arrows alert you to enemies and attacks, but these are impossible to really interpret properly when you are fighting several enemies at once. So I found this annoying at times in Evil West. Thankfully, your dash and roll allow you to be more agile, which means that this issue wasn't always the biggest deal, since I could easily resituate myself to another position. Before we move to the conclusion, I want to praise the music. It hits the expected Western beats, and here's a taste from the main theme. Evil West so far is very fun, flawed, and maybe a bit underrated. The combat is enjoyable and I like the set of moves that you have at your disposal. In some ways, this feels like a mixture of westerns with Devil May Cry, and honestly the recent Doom games. The more straightforward design makes for a fun single and co-op experience, as the game leads you to the next arena. Evil West is kinda like comfort food from a restaurant that I used to go to, and then it just reopened again. There are flaws here for sure, and I honestly hope this game causes other developers to make some stuff that calls back to the PS2 and PS3 days of enjoyable linear games. I will be making a full review after I beat it. If you have played it, let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.